This GiveIt Forms video is for Donorfy. Please be aware this demo may include features outside of your band. Okay, let's take a look at dropping a donation field into our form. It's quite a comprehensive one. There's a lot of things to discuss, so we're going to go through it methodically. For that reason, we're not going to start here. We're actually going to travel over to our global settings and set up some of the integrations that the donation fields are going to need to make use of. On the global settings page, pivot over to your integrations tab. You're going to need to set up your Stripe integration, your PayPal integration, your Go Cardless integration, potentially also your reCAPTCHA integration. So let's run by those again. Stripe is geared up for taking your one-off payments. If you want to take a card payment for your one-time giving, your one-off giving, Stripe is how GiveIt Forms processes those payments. So from your Stripe account, you'll be given a live publishable key and also a secret key. The secret key on my form has already been supplied, and so it's blocked by this security wrapper here. You can change that by invoking the field through this. You'll need to supply your Stripe account country. That's a 2-letter country code for where the bank account of your organization is established that Stripe's interfacing with. So GB is a good bet there. Your Go Cardless access token, that again comes out of your Go Cardless account, is currently wrapped up in this security wrapper. You need to click this button to invoke that field to supply that if you've already supplied one. So you're not seeing here the blank field for the first time. PayPal client ID and the PayPal secret. Again, that's a pair of keys. The publishable one would go here. Your secret one is currently behind the secure wrapper, so you need to invoke that field by clicking this. And while strictly not explicitly related to donation, if you wanted to supply a site and secret key for your reCAPTCHA, you can get the reCAPTCHA model operating in your form as well. And that goes for all forms, as I say, not just those with a donation context. Supply those keys in here. If you don't supply them, the integration just simply doesn't connect and won't do anything. So once you've made your changes, hit the save button here and return to your form. Okay, with everything configured for payment integration now, we're in a position to drop our donation field into our form. The options panel's got a lot going on. It's quite a comprehensive field, so we'll work through this line by line. The visible label, this will render to your end user, so it makes sense to label this something quite obvious. Make a donation stands to reason. For the sub-label, I will supply that. Please support us with a generous donation, or words to that effect. Do you want to make donation component required? If this was a donation form, if that's the whole context of why we're building this form in the first place, it would make sense that you would want to validate against all the donation fields, all the pertinent donation fields being supplied by the user. So that makes sense to make that required. But there will be contexts perhaps where you are doing event registrations or item sales and donation isn't a mandatory part of that, but something you include in the form because offering an optional donation in the face of generosity is always beneficial to your organization. So in which case then you wouldn't want that required. We need to decide what payment context, what frequencies of payment we'd like to collect. Now, given that we've put in Stripe keys for our one-off giving and our Go Cardless keys for our recurring giving, we might as well make use of them. So we're going to offer both one-time donations, one-off donations, and monthly donations. That produces these two columns here. Just to roll back one setting, it's possible to allow own amounts. Now that really is in context with what's just materialized, having picked the one-off and the monthly collection choices. We have the means to configure 3 amounts that we're going to offer on the front end form, prescribed amounts. For instance, I might, for my one-off collection, so that's this left column, offer choices of £10, £20 and £30. I might expand upon those as well in this benefit text area, 1 to amount 1, 2 to amount 2, 3 to amount 3. That's the relationship. Suggest can help us acquire £10 will help us acquire, will help us achieve, will help us conduct the work that we do, and so on and so on. So we can attribute these labels here to these values. So we can offer some prescribed values. This checkbox upstairs here, allow your own amounts. So in addition to these 3 choices, we can give our donors a 4th choice with a free field, a free input field that they can supply a number and a donation amount that is not either of these 3 fields. Notice that when I select that only, allow own amounts, this is now joined by only allow. So what this checkbox is doing effectively is it's nullifying everything, all the work that we've just done here in configuring some prescribed values and overriding that with only offering the donor the choice to put in their own bespoke amount. So all they'll see is a single field, one of those 4. Let's turn that off though, and let's give them all 4. So our 3 prescribed values and the choice to supply their own. Just before we proceed, there are 2 other options here, one per frequency, single fixed amount. So whereas we've got the option here to configure 3 prescribed values, we can actually reduce those to just the 1. And then this doesn't become an option. This isn't an optional amount that the user may select from. Certainly if allow our own amounts is still ticked, they get to supply their own, but let's suppose that's gone as well. So for one-off giving and for monthly giving, we're setting a fixed price in here. So that might be beneficial for, let's say, an annual membership or perhaps a fixed monthly membership value as well. So you don't offer choices and you don't offer free choices with the own amounts either. You can lock that down. I'm going to keep this as open-ended as possible. We're going to allow all the own amounts. We won't only allow own amounts, we'll leave that off. We'll configure these, and that's looking good. So far I've supplied data for my one-off prescribed. My monthlies, I'm going to make use of these copy across buttons, and I'm just going to ping across all of the same data one to the other, and I might just inflate the monthlies a little bit just for some differentiation. Let's do that. They're all up by 5. Marvelous, that looks good. So that's largely the front end taken care of. When we roll down to the remainder of the fields in the columns here, now we're configuring things for Donorfy. So the first one is the payment method for Stripe. The payment method for PayPal follows. The payment method universally blanket for recurring payment for Go Cardless over here because there are no 2 gateways available for monthly giving. We don't do monthly giving through Stripe and through PayPal or either. We just have Go Cardless over here. So the payment for payment method for recurring could well be direct debit. For Stripe, you may well have just called that Stripe. And in PayPal, you sensibly may have called your payment method PayPal. Whatever you've named these payment methods over in Donorfy, they need to match verbatim over here. So copy and paste if you're not sure. Then you can move on to another gamut of fields that Donorfy needs to care about. Department, product, channel, bank account, campaign, and fund. You have the very same over here for the monthly. There is a collection method to be specified over here as well. I believe that one is Go Cardless direct debit off the top of my head. The fact is you will need to configure all of these, otherwise when you attempt to save this you'll fail validation. I'm just going to pause the video here and bring you back once those are populated. Okay, for my one-offs I've spun through and I have copied and pasted from Donorfy what I've got configured over there for each of these categories, and here they are. For my monthlies, I'm just going to borrow my clone across tool because they are largely going to map the same. The only difference I might wish to make is, I don't know, individual giving, recurring. For example, let's imagine I've got a different fund over there and that's what I want that to be configured to. The core takeaway is that depending on the frequency of giving, you can map differently. You can offer different incentivizations. You can customize the two strands of frequency of giving in the one form or from this one view. Okay, let's just move on to the bottom now. There's a few last things to configure there. Default gift type. Your choices here are one-off and monthly direct debit. That's because you have two columns in play. Essentially, this is asking when a user arrives at your donation page and encounters this compound field, which of these two frequencies of giving are they going to encounter first? The other one will be then in a tab that they could tab along to. The final setting I'm going to discuss in this video is the gift aid eligibility field. If we tick that on, then the donations being made in this field will be marked as positive for tax recovery in Donorfy for enrolling into your gift aid claim. It's plausible that somebody's context of donation is by way of a purchase or by way of some other scheme or incentive where gift aid actually can't apply. Particularly if it's a organization style form, like a corporate donation form or something like that. So you can just blanket turn on or off gift aid eligibility for donations moving through this form. When you commit that and your configurations, you don't get one, you get several fields appended to the form here, with make a donation being the field that we just configured. And then these other three, as denoted by this auto suffix over here, these are automatically generated to appear on your page. You can tailor elements of them. You can tailor what the total field labeling is, so it's total by default. But we could amend that to pay. No, you can't. Pay the title. Yes, you can. Amount to pay, colon. Let's get rid of that and spell it right. Total is always required because it's an automatic field. You've got no say in that matter. So the payment total, this field is going to render the total, obviously, for the donation that's going through based on the choices the user makes when they encounter that field. We've got a card details field coming in here, and we've got a direct debit details card field coming in here too. You can edit those if you wish to label them something differently. That's about it for the donation field configuration. Let's have a look, let's save the form and then have a look at how that renders on the front end. Okay, this is the front end experience given to our users. One-off was the default gift view setting that we configured, and so that's ticked on. These are the amounts for it. As soon as we start engaging with those, we are making a financial decision, and so you'll notice that our card details have already pumped onto the page because we've now engaged Stripe ready to collect them. Our payment total field is recognizing this £10 registration as well. If I hop across to monthly, haven't made a decision yet, so the total was back down to 0, and obviously making a choice then engages the direct debit flow instead. There's a guarantee, some default text in there as well, and the submit button will go on to engage the gateway. The enter your own amount, well, that's here. And that trumps any decision that's been made to that point. When a user makes a donation, this will create a donation transaction onto their timeline using the mappings and the configurations that we put into our two frequency columns. Depending on the frequency of payment that they just made, will determine how that transaction gets mapped. As soon as a donation field is in our form, we also get to take advantage of the donation message field, which materializes. So I'll pull that in. This will have a visible label, a visible sub-label, and you can make this a required field optionally or an optional field. There's a little note here just to read. You can add as many donation message fields as you like. each of their values will be concatenated into a single message. So a Donorfy transaction carries a notes field, a message field, and within that we can report to them using these donation message fields. And if you have more than one, as it says here, they're going to concatenate. So I might head this with tell us about why you are donating today. Add that to my form. I probably wouldn't want it after my cards and payment stuff. I probably would want that ahead of my donation, probably maybe after I've configured my donation. There we go. So let's save the form. Let's preview the difference that makes. So after I've come in and decided I'm making a £20 donation, I'm now asked why. Why are you making this donation? The comment I supply there is going to turn up in the notes field of the very same transaction.